A top Trump cabinet official just fell apart under tough questioning by Democrats in the House of Representatives. It was caught on live TV. This top Trump cabinet member said the reason there's all this attention on the reflecting pool right now from the Trump administration is because there's a national emergency involving the reflecting pool. It's one of the most important projects for our national well-being and security. This top Trump cabinet official also claimed that Americans aren't struggling with cost of living problems, and he refused to admit that Americans can't afford basic needs. Let me show you what happened as Donald Trump's top cabinet official, his Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, fell apart under tough questioning. First, I want to show you Democratic Congressmember Nagus questioning Burgum about the reflecting pool, and how Donald Trump first said it was his pool guy handling the reflecting pool project, then said it was the Interior Secretary, but then it turned out to be done through a no-bid contract by calling it a national emergency. Watch this exchange. It's powerful. Let's play the clip.
Are you familiar with Atlantic Industrial Coatings?
I'm not familiar with that.
So Atlantic Industrial Coatings is a company. Are you familiar with that company?
You're saying Atlantic?
Atlantic Industrial Coatings, correct? Are you familiar with it, or?
I'm not familiar with Atlantic.
Okay, Atlantic Industrial Coatings is the company that received a no-bid federal contract for the project at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. Are you familiar with that now?
I'm familiar with that project, yes.
But not the company?
I wasn't familiar with that specific name of the company.
Okay. You're familiar with the fact that a company received a no-bid contract to do the work on that project, correct?
I'm familiar that we're working on a project to restore the reflecting pool before the summer season with record attendance, yes.
Yes, and that was through a no-bid $13 million contract, right? That's not up for debate. That's a fact.
I'm positive that we followed all of the required bidding rules. So you're emphasizing the word no bid like something nefarious has happened.
Okay, then
I reject
explain
that
it to me. Here, I'll ask you the question. My understanding of the federal procurement rules is that a no-bid contract is reserved for situations where, quote, any delay would cause serious injury to the government. What is your proposition is what? That there'd be serious injury to the government if this company didn't get the $13 million contract to do this particular project right now? Is that?
Well, I think we do have a sense of urgency. I mean, we got handed a record amount of deferred maintenance. We had 19 fountains across the city that didn't work.
That's the serious injury to the government? The serious injury to the government?
Well, I suppose a lawyer could decide that, but I think that maybe all of us could agree that we would want to have our nation's capital looking great for the 250th.
Well,
I mean, this is a common sense decision.
I would say, just last question, who picked this company? Because President Trump, a few months ago, in a New York Times article said, I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. He looked at it. He called me up. He said, sir, we can do something on it. Last night, he posted on Truth Social, also, I did not give out the contract. Interior did to a contractor I did not know and have never used before. So Interior, he's talking about you. Did you give this $13 million no-bid contract to this company that's never done business with the federal government before?
The gentleman's time has expired.
I think the secretary can answer the question.
The gentleman that you're talking about that has done construction work regarding pools and fountains for President Trump is not part of this contract. He's just a citizen that cared about it and offered some free advice. There's nothing there in terms of any dollars flowing to anybody that worked for President Trump.
Then you had Congressmember Huffman questioning Burgum about whether he believes most Americans are struggling right now. A pretty basic question that Burgum can't answer. And Burgum tries to attack Biden. Let's play this clip.
Something I hope we can just agree on. Would you agree that most Americans are struggling right now to afford basic necessities of life because of rising costs?
Yeah, I would say again, this administration.
Yes or no? Do you agree they're struggling with
I agree that this administration inherited the highest inflation in 40 years.
Mr. Secretary, do you agree that families are struggling across this country with rising costs? Yes or no?
I agree that during the first year of office, we did more. This administration did more to lower costs than any other.
Maybe you wouldn't know, Mr. Secretary. Whether they're struggling. I mean, You're in a different economic strata. But I think most of us understand there's a struggle out there because of this administration's economic and energy policies. And while you are slashing just about every other part of the Department of Interior's budget, including for national parks, you have spent a lot of the department's time, resources, and taxpayer dollars to serve Donald Trump's.
Then you had Huffman questioning Burgum again about the price of gas, and Burgum refused to admit that the price of gas is up. He kept trying to attack Biden instead of answering simple questions. This is why Donald Trump's approval is the lowest in presidential history. Americans are sick and tired of this nonsense. But play this clip.
Jerry, while you're funneling billions into these vanity projects, gas is up by an average of $1.40 a gallon from last year. In March, President Trump posted this message. He said, the United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far. So when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. Who's the we?
Well, it could be states, the federal government, the American people. When we collect royalty rates on oil production on federal lands, and so if prices are higher, then there's more revenue coming into the system.
So this is good for American families that they're paying $1.40 more a gallon for gas.
I'm not saying that, but I'm thrilled that they're paying. I'm thrilled that they're paying about $1 less than they were during the Biden administration. I mean, that's exciting, and these prices are going to drop quickly again because now we actually have supply. Prices are determined based on supply.
Again, there's a real disconnect here. Americans are not celebrating this spike in gas prices that you seem to think is just great, and your only answer is to hearken back to the depths of the pandemic.
It wasn't the depths of the pandemic. It was just a year ago, and it was a series. It was a series of energy subtraction.
Americans
policies.
are paying $1.40 more a gallon, and there's no end in sight to this energy crisis created by the war in Iran. They're the ones who can't afford to keep the lights on and put food on the table. But the we that's making a lot more money are, let's be honest about it, it's the big oil billionaires.
Next up, Democratic Congress member Seth Magaziner questioned Doug Burgum and had a mic drop moment, or I should say a battery drop moment. Watch as Congress member Magaziner says, "Hey, do you realize there's something called a battery? Do you know what a battery is? Here, play this clip."
Are you or are you not in North Dakota one of the top 10 or so in the country for renewable energy as a percentage basis, so weighted over a full year?
For rated, but
Yes.
when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, they
Mr.
produce
Secretary,
nothing.
we have these things called batteries. We've had them since Benjamin Franklin. They come in much bigger sizes than this. And we are expanding battery capacity at roughly double a year. We add the equivalent of 5 or 6 power plants a month worth of battery storage, which makes solar and wind useful not just off-peak, but on-peak as well. And so listen, I'm just going to say...
Then Congress member Magaziner holds up signs saying true or false. True or false, wind and solar are the most expensive form of energy. And when Burgum answers it wrong, Magaziner instantly fact-checks him using information from the Trump administration's own websites and plain common sense. Play this clip.
The answer is false. China added more wind generation last year than the rest of the world combined. They get 15% of their electricity from wind, which is almost as high as North Dakota. The most expensive form of energy ever, wind and solar, says the president. True or false?
That's true. And
not according to the Department of Energy. Under the Trump administration, the EIA under this administration projects that over the next 5 years, solar $58 per megawatt hour on average, wind $56, combined cycle turbines, including natural gas, $77. So according to the administration's own data, that is not true. Enough of the games. The American people want lower energy costs. They want lower prices.
Okay,
they want these projects not blocked. And the last thing I'll say is this. Chairman Westerman, to his credit, has been working with both sides of the aisle to pass permitting reform, something that we need to do. The number one thing preventing that from happening is the administration playing games, blocking clean energy from getting to the grid. I'll yield back.
Then you had Huffman questioning Burgum about Donald Trump's desire to build a triumphal arch. What's this arch for? Congressmember Huffman asks, to which Burgum responds, the American people want the architecture. The American people wanted, Congressmember Huffman says. You think the American people want an arch, and we want it to be slightly taller than the arch in Pyongyang. What are you talking about? We don't want a Pyongyang-style arch. What are you even saying here? Play this clip.
Building a 250-foot arch to Trump that will overshadow our veterans' final resting place. And Mr. Secretary, it's hard to understand how these projects to stroke Trump's ego do anything for the American people with their day-to-day struggles to afford daily life. And the ballooning costs of these tributes to Donald Trump really speak to the lack of fiscal responsibility in this budget, not to what you said in your testimony that this is all about fiscal responsibility. So can you just confirm, with this arch specifically, who is this arch for? Who's it being built for?
I think you're probably aware that there's been no final agency action around building something on a site.
That was not my question about technicality on final agency action. Who's it being built for?
It's not a technicality.
This is my question, Mr. Secretary. I'm sorry, that's the way it works. Who is the arch being built for?
The frame of your question is that there has been a approved proposal and something is actually being built.
Now, let's forget about final agency action and other legalese. There is a proposal to build this arch. Who is it for?
There's a discussion about it. I wouldn't say there's not a proposal.
Who's it for?
Well, for the American people, just like everything else in this thing, because there are 68 democratic capitals around the free world that have arches, and I guess that somehow the United States building an arch for the people to celebrate.
We're going to build one just a little taller than the one in Pyongyang because someone in the White House insists that ours be the biggest. Mr. Secretary, you may not be aware of this, but actually I'm sure you are aware. Donald Trump was asked this question specifically on the record, and he said this arch is for him. He said his answer was me. We can enter that into the record by unanimous consent if you'd like, but I'm pretty sure you're aware of that.
Then you had Congressmember Dexter questioning Burgum about $1 billion in cuts to the national parks by the Trump administration. You're the Interior Secretary. That should make you angry. You should want more money going to our national parks. That's basically the main part of your job. And instead, the $1 billion is going toward East Wing renovations. In other words, building Donald Trump's ballroom with taxpayer money. You're gutting our natural parks and our national parks just so you can build Donald Trump's golden ballroom. How dare these crooks? How dare these creeps? Here, play this clip.
Let's talk about priorities. Mr. Secretary, the president's vanity projects are so out of control that they now require their own budget. Trump is putting his face on park passes and passports. He's carving his name into the Kennedy Center. He's repainting the reflection pool American flag blue. He's trying to put up a massive 250-foot arch to Trump in front of Arlington National Cemetery. And then there's the ballroom. First, the American people were told this ballroom would not disrupt public access to the east wing of the White House. That hasn't been the case. Then they said they would mostly be privately funded and only cost about $200 million. But then it was $250 million, then $300 million, then $400 million. Now, reporting suggests taxpayers are footing a whopping $1 billion bill for Trump's ballroom and White House upgrades. Mr. Secretary, your budget cuts the National Park Service by $1 billion, a 32% cut. If you put this $1 billion towards our national parks instead of Trump's ballroom, you could avoid that cut. That would benefit every single American. Mr. Secretary, at any time, did you object to this level of spending for the ballroom?
I think a couple things. First of all,
I want to be really careful with my time. As you know, we keep running out. So
I want to be careful. I want to be careful about what we're talking about because I think everybody in this room knows that there's a massive security complex.
We're not
that's being
talking
built.
about that, Mr. Secretary. We're talking about a $1 billion line item for White House upgrades.
Yeah,
in
but
the East
what do you have included in that line item?
Okay,
Is it
so it's
all this?
clear to me and everyone here that you
And
didn't do
we just-
anything to stop
I'm
Trump's
sorry to
ballroom.
interrupt. But
This is my time, Mr. Secretary. I'm going to take it. I'm sorry. Similar to how you did nothing to stop Trump from spending $13 million with a no-bid contract to paint the reflecting pool. So this is a question I think the public wants answered. When is it enough? At what point do you tell Trump no, Mr. Secretary?
There is no painting going on at the reflecting pool. The reflecting pool leaks 40,000 gallons a day. Under the current
let's just
thing.
refocus on the $1 billion.
And we refocus
for
on
the
not,
White House.
not misrepresenting things, because it's not paint. It's a
I'm talking
liner.
about the
It's a
East
liner so the
Ballroom
pool doesn't leak.
$1 billion investment.
Can we not? I'm not sure why people keep calling it the President Trump's ballroom, because it will be completed in time.
Oh
for
my
all.
goodness, Mr. Secretary, did you know that 90% of the American public supports our national parks? And 2 to 1, they do not support the investment in the East Wing and the new ballroom. So are you supporting Mr. Trump's vanity projects, or are you supporting the national parks that our people in this country treasure?
This is a false trade-off.
It is not a false.
More cross-examination here. Congress member Randall questioning Burgum about a backlog of deferred maintenance and things that really need attention. And instead, the Trump administration is focused on reflecting pools instead of, fixing bridges and things the American people really need right now. And it's the reflecting pool. You're just painting it blue, and you're going to make the problem worse. Let's play this clip.
Trail taken by young families and is very clearly a safety hazard. There's a backlog of $300 million in deferred maintenance and repairs needed for Olympic National Park alone. And we have another photo, AI image that President Trump posted about a beautification project that he wants done in DC. This project would drain the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial so the bottom can be repainted or resurfaced in blue instead of white. And you're actually in this image, Secretary Burgum. Of these two images, which do you think should be the higher priority? Fixing a bridge that is a safety hazard for hikers, or changing the bottom of the reflecting pool?
Well, my answer would be both, and that's why we're encouraging this committee and Congress to pass the GOA.
Please don't dodge my simple question, Mr. Burgum. Which is the more urgent?
I'm not dodging.
Maintenance?
I'm not dodging. We have deferred maintenance issues all over the country.
Yes, we do. You are prioritizing $3 billion for those nationwide deferred maintenance projects and $10 billion for capital preservation in DC. I can tell you that my neighbors. This is my time. Thank you. And I believe
but if you
most
ask me questions, am I not allowed to answer? Is this
I asked
just work?
you a simple question. You decided to
you,
go off on a
you
tangent.
answered a question with a false hypothesis.
It's my time, Secretary. Most Americans think that it's much more urgent to improve public safety in the national parks and make sure everyone can safely enjoy the outdoors. But in fact, you find President Trump's vanity projects more important because you waive procurement rules to issue an emergency no-bid contract worth over $10 million to repaint the reflecting pool. And I see that my time has expired, so I will end by asking for unanimous consent to enter into the record these two articles from the New York Times. Reflecting pool repairs to cost $13.1 million. Trump had promised 1.8, and reflecting pools repairs uneven and behind schedule.
Without objection.
Thank you.
Mr.
Then you had Congress member Min questioning Burgum on America's use of new energy and contrasting it with China. How, while Donald Trump's focused elsewhere, China has cleaned our clock with new energy. And this is a national security issue simply because Donald Trump hates the Green New Deal, new energy, and loves his coal. This is a national security issue. There's also a jobs issue because it's costing us so many jobs due to their ridiculous anti-science stance. But play this clip.
I just ask you a simple yes/no question. Do you agree that China is also trying to achieve total energy dominance? Yes, no. Okay, that's not a yes/no. I'll reclaim my time. Do you know how much new energy China put online last year? New energy.
Intermittent or baseload?
And all energy. 543 gigawatts. Do you know how much of that was renewable?
I do not know how much of it did
It was
not operate.
434 gigawatts. 80%,
but only when the wind is blowing and the sun is
80%,
shining.
they put on 434 gigawatts annually. 80% of the new energy that they put online last year was renewable. 80%. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm Asian, so good at math, but you can look that up. 80% of the energy they put up was renewable. Meanwhile, the United States, under your quote, total energy dominance strategy of rejecting renewable energy, put up 53 gigawatts of new energy last year, less than 10% of what China put up. Now, your clear bias against renewable energy in the face of all evidence is harming our national security, harming our ability to have energy independence, and putting us further and further behind the Chinese. And the cancellation of Total Energy's offshore wind leases last year is a case study on your department's economically illiterate and unlawful energy strategy. In March 2026, Trump settled with Total Energies, a French oil company, for $1 billion in exchange for cancellation of its offshore wind leases. If completed, Total Energies projects would have produced enough energy to power 1.7 million homes in the United States. Furthermore, the administration paid this company $1 billion again from a fund strictly reserved for settlements resulting in active or imminent litigation requiring monetary compensation, which was not the case with Total, because in fact, in March 2026, the CEO of Total told CNBC that their company had approached the federal government for reimbursement after Trump had paused all offshore wind permitting. So again, a simple yes-no question for you. While constituents deal with sky-high utility prices, do you think it's appropriate that your department sent $1 billion to a foreign oil company to stop producing energy?
There's so many things that you said that are false or misleading. I don't know where to start, but I will start with one thing that Total was refunded their money. They essentially gave the U.S. government a interest-free loan, and their money was refunded to them.
I know you've described this as a refund in the past. I'm not interested in semantics. You gave them $1 billion to stop producing energy.
It's not semantics.
It is semantics. You gave $1 billion out of a fund reserved for settlements. Is that not true? You gave them $1 billion out of a fund reserved for legal settlements.
I didn't give them anything. We refunded their money, but only if
you gave them $1 billion, right? How are you going to characterize it?
Which they've already invested in energy.
I'll reclaim my time. Thank you very much.
They've already invested that money in energy projects.
And I also want to show you another hearing that was happening at the same time in the United States Senate. Senator Blumenthal was questioning Energy Secretary Chris Wright about how the Trump administration now says they want to suspend the federal gas tax, even though Republicans were always against that, because now gas prices are going through the roof right now, as you all know. So Senator Blumenthal asks a simple question. Can we also tax the oil companies, gas companies, a little more? To which Chris Wright, who is really the protector of the gas industry, that's why he was picked, for the oil and gas industry, says, no, they've been through a lot. They've been struggling. They've been suffering lately. They deserve all these record profits. Here, play this clip.
That suspending the gas tax ought to be combined with a big oil windfall profits tax, which I've championed with Senator Whitehouse. As you well know, big oil is raking in bonanza profits. Shell announced just Friday that it has reported a $7 billion profit in the latest quarter, which is double the previous quarter. That is emblematic of what big oil companies are making as a result of the war. Don't you think it's time that companies like Shell put some of that money back in consumer pockets?
The oil and gas industry has had a rough couple decades. The shale revolution's been tremendous for American consumers and global consumers.
Well, should some of the windfall profits go back to consumers? Yes or no?
If you raise taxes when we need production to rise, you'll get less production and ultimately higher prices.
Well,
so incentives are what drive human beings.
They're not putting any of these profits into more production, are they?
Oh, they are.
They've said they're not doing more production because they don't know how long the war is going to last.
Shell, an example, invests tens of billions of dollars every year in drilling new oil and gas wells and exploring. So if you tax something, you get less of it. And I think getting less of energy is not a good strategy. And if you look at historical records,
So you would oppose a windfall profits tax?
any short-term tax like that for a shortage of any
there a
product is
way-
a bad idea.
Is there a way
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe.